Hi, welcome to Ross the Audio again. Been a few days without a video, so I have been thinking about a topic that I could talk about that concerns us all. And out of the blue, it just hit me. It's what made us so lucky, and what saved audio and vintage audio in especially. Beside that, we have had for as long as you probably can go back, people have been collecting things. So of course it started with people collecting stuff, probably collecting back as long back as 50s and 60s and 70s and even 80s, and up through the 90s and up until now. But the way world was before 1997, it was based on swap meets. You had ads in the newspaper, or in advertisements in some publications like the Penny Saver, like they had a few years ago, and stuff like that. So it was way harder before, and the collecting community was probably a lot smaller. But something changed, and something was a lucky thing for vintage audio, and that's called internet. When internet came along in 97, of course it took a few years before it really boosted, but it was like easier for people to connect, and the meeting ground became so much bigger. It became worldwide. And of course things and websites and apps and all this that have been added on in the last few years has helped tremendously. And a lot of people curses eBay up and down, but eBay has been a savior for a lot of equipment. A lot of equipment that would normally be thrown away, because you see a lot of things on eBay for sale that is being sold as is for repair or parts. Before the internet age, these items would have probably been thrown away, or a very few would have taken it to a swap meet or to some kind of a club meeting or whatever. But now the big selection that you have on all these, so thanks to eBay and other sites that promote sales of these type of items, have really helped. And I know we curse Facebook up and down every day for some of their stuff, but if you look at it, I mean, it has created a good platform for collectors to come together and express their hobby and enjoy their hobby and share their hobby with others. And this has created, the way I see it and the way I believe it, a bigger collecting community. Of course, when a community grows and the focus shifts from little focus to a lot more focus, of course you're going to have bad elements coming in. But you have to take the good with the bad and the bad with the good. So, have prices gone up? Yes. Is there trolls and scammers and idiots out there that bugs the shit out of everyone else? Yes. But they're so easy to weed out, Just block them and they're gone. Just delete them out of the group and they're gone. So, this internet thing was a savior for not only vintage audio, but maybe audio in general. And it's maybe a savior. A lot of other collecting communities is probably saying the same. People who collect stamps is saying the same, and if you collect knives or whatever, internet has helped in a lot of ways. Maybe prices has gone up in general on the more normal stuff, but since the advertisement on eBay and other websites have exploded over the last 15 years, you know, some prices will go down compared to earlier because sometimes you have people or time eras where you have, oh, they meet up at a swap meet, or you put an ad in a newspaper, and you never see that item up for sale that often, and the seller could say, well, very very rare, and ask a very high price for it. So some prices has gone down, but in general, some of the prices has gone up. Especially when you look at prices on stuff that will probably be normally sell anywhere between 20 and $500. You probably have seen a rise in prices there because there's more buyers. But then again, before, where you had less buyers on certain items, prices were probably higher. But now that you can get more of those, prices have gone down. So it's like it has regulated itself, and the price in the market and the price things sells for, we can't complain about it. I know it drives me nuts that I think that, oh, it's too expensive for that part or too expensive for that item. But if that's the price the market is willing to pay for it, then that's the fair market price. And I think that by creating these groups and creating focus on the hobby and the branch and the community, we have saved this collecting community from a lot of stuff. It would have been way harder if we didn't have internet today, and with Facebook and eBay and Amazon or whatever and MySpace and all these other sites. It would have been way, way worse. And just think about this. In the past, if you were a newbie collector, let's say you inherited something from your dad or your grandfather, and you got into the vintage audio and you wanted to be a legit collector, before internet era, it was not easy to find information about things, and you had to do a lot of footwork and calling around, look up in the yellow pages, and you had to call and maybe be lucky find someone who could help you with some information. But it would take so much time and so much footwork and effort to find that information. Today, you go on Google and you type in what you want to find out about things, and in 90% of the time you will find what you're looking for, because some people have been smart enough to upload a lot of it and created web pages with specifications and brochures and catalogs and all that stuff. So I think we just have to embrace things as it is online, good and bad, and just take it for what it is. It is a great place to find information. It's a great place to share your hobby and your interests with others. It's a great place for buying and selling if you do it the right way. Sell it or buy it the wrong way and you can be really burned. So it is like everything else, good and bad, pros and cons. So we just have to take it the way it is and make the best out of it. But bottom line is, internet has really made collecting easier, and it has made collecting better, and it saved the whole damn collecting community. And it saved vintage audio from going to the landfills. A lot of stuff that probably went to the landfills before internet era started is now on internet and being saved. So God knows how many holy grail items ended up on the landfills before internet because people did not know what they had, or they didn't know where to get rid of it. or people couldn't find it to buy it, to rescue it. But that chance we do have today, and most people are aware of it. And then, of course, you say, well, we have these sharks and they buy up stuff and they sell it for a profit. Oh, so what? You know, someone has to get things from one place to another, and God forbid they make a profit. There is two types of sharks. You have the ones who buy stuff, maybe fix it up and clean it up and make it usable in a working condition, and then sell it for a profit. I don't care if they make 50, 100, 150, 200, 300 or $500 on it. They did something good. But of course, the sharks that are out there pushing the sellers, if the seller is limited on knowledge and doesn't know what they have because they maybe have an estate they have to take care of, you have the aggressive bad sharks that really take advantage of vulnerable sellers with maybe limited knowledge, and really gives a dumping price for it and then resell it later on for a huge profit. That to me is morally wrong. But if you are a shark or a flipper or whatever who goes out and you pay the seller a fair price for it, and you do some work to make it look better, work better or whatever, and you present it in a better condition, and you make a profit on it, I have no problems with that. Most of us has probably done it at some point in time. I know I have bought equipment just because the seller had it online and I bid on it, and no one else bid on it, and I got it for a fairly cheap price, and I used it for a month or two, maybe 6 months, and then I resold it for a profit. That is flipping as well. So there's nothing wrong about that, and they also keep the hobby going, and they keep the collectors going. But you have to kind of like separate the good flippers from the bad flippers and the good sharks from the bad sharks. And if you can do that, you know, things will work it out by itself. One thing that is really nice is that market economy and market forces is always evening things out in the end, and it has a way of regulate itself. So what that means is, with time, people will realize that, okay, that seller I know is a bad flipper and bad shark, and you don't do business with them anymore, and you find others. And the more people who discover these things will automatically squeeze that bad shithead out of the loop. So we are lucky, guys. We live in a time that we lived before internet, and we lived when it was implemented, and we have seen the fruits of it, the first 20 years of it, and we have been lucky, really lucky, and it saved us. I know my collection has grown, and my interest for the hobby stays intact and vital and living. It lives good, it breeds good, because it's so exciting to go online and see what you can find and stuff like that. So I think it keeps the hobby healthy. So we are lucky, and it's damn sure saved us. So have a nice day.